"You're not welcome. We don't want you at the event," my family texted, despite my funding every detail. "Then cover it yourselves, parasites," I fired back, wiping out 75 files. "Now settle your own depths." The fluorescent lights of my Hollywood studio buzzed like a swarm of angry wasps, but I barely noticed. My eyes were glued to the laptop screen, the words of an email searing themselves into my soul. My hands shook, the coffee mug I'd been clutching slipping from my fingers and shattering on the polished concrete floor. The sound barely registered. I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened, each gasp a battle against an invisible vice. The email was from my sister, Lauren. Or rather, it wasn't meant for me at all. I'd been accidentally copied on a thread meant to exclude me. The subject line was innocuous, premiere final details. But the body of the message was a dagger to my heart. "You're banned from the premiere. Lauren doesn't want you there. Your presence would make things uncomfortable for Ethan's family. Please ensure all production tasks are completed remotely." The words blurred as tears welled, but I forced myself to read on. My mother, Victoria, had chimed in. "It's for the best, dear. You can still handle the logistics." My father, Charles, added his cold pragmatism. "We expect professionalism, Emily. Don't let personal feelings interfere." And Lauren herself, my little sister, the one I'd poured my heart and $750,000 0 cents into, sealed the betrayal. "Everything's paid for, so there shouldn't be issues. Just don't show up." I collapsed into my chair, the room spinning. The premiere was for Stardust Dreams, Lauren's directorial debut. A semi-autobiographical film I'd bankrolled and produced, believing it would finally bridge the chasm between us. I'd given everything, my savings, my reputation, my sleepless nights, only to be cast out like a pariah. The Dolby Theater, the red carpet, the A-list stars I'd begged to attend. They were all my doing, and now I was an embarrassment, unworthy of standing in the spotlight I'd created. My phone buzzed on the desk, a cruel reminder of the world moving on without me. I ignored it, my gaze drifting to the framed photo beside my monitor. Lauren and me, aged 10 and 5, at a San Diego beach. I was building a sandcastle, my brow furrowed in concentration, while Lauren grinned, her tiny hands smashing my careful towers. Even then, she was the golden child, the one our parents, Victoria and Charles Bennett, adored without question. I was the responsible one, expected to yield, to sacrifice, to understand. "She's younger, Emily," they'd say when her birthdays brought private concerts and mine a pizza night. "She needs more attention." That photo was a lie, a snapshot of a sisterhood that never truly existed. I don't know how long I sat there, the email's words looping in my mind like a broken reel. My studio, Harper Vision Productions, was my sanctuary, a sleek, modern space in West Hollywood filled with awards, storyboards, and the hum of ambition. But now, it felt like a tomb. The walls, lined with posters of my Oscar-nominated documentaries, mocked me. I'd clawed my way up in this cutthroat industry, from late-night script editing to producing films that moved audiences to tears, all without a dime or a kind word from my family. And for what? To be discarded by the sister I'd spent my life trying to save? The memory of our last family dinner hit me like a punch. It was 6 months ago at our parents' sprawling estate in La Jolla. Lauren had burst in, her engagement ring glinting under the chandelier. "I'm directing a film," she'd announced, her voice bubbling with excitement. "And Ethan's family is backing it." Ethan Vaughn, her fiancé, came from old Hollywood money. His parents, Catherine and Richard, were the kind of people who dined with studio moguls and owned a Malibu cliffside estate. I'd pushed aside the familiar pang of being overshadowed and offered to produce the film. "I'll make it perfect, Lauren," I'd said, my heart swelling with foolish hope. She'd hugged me, her perfume sharp and expensive. "You're the best, Em. I knew you'd get it." I'd thrown myself into Stardust Dreams with a zeal that bordered on obsession. I secured a $500,000 0 cents production budget from my personal savings, crafted a $150,000 0 cents marketing campaign, and planned a $100,000 0 cents premiere at the Dolby Theater. I created 75 meticulous production files, casting notes, shooting schedules, promotional plans, all pro bono. I negotiated with cinematographers, wrangled diva actors, and spent nights editing scripts until my eyes burned. Every decision was driven by two desires: to showcase my talent and to prove to my family I was worth loving. But the cracks had started early. Lauren began to change, her voice taking on Catherine Vaughn's clipped, elitist cadence. She dismissed my creative input as too commercial, her eyes flicking to Catherine for approval. At a gala dinner hosted by Ethan's parents at the Beverly Hills Hotel, my $750,000 0 cents contribution was ignored, while Lauren's vision was toasted with vintage champagne. Catherine had leaned in, her diamond earrings catching the light. "How charming that you've turned your little projects into a career, Emily," she'd said, her smile venomous. "But Lauren's film is a Vaughn production. We expect a certain pedigree." I'd swallowed my hurt, telling myself it was just Hollywood politics. The first real danger came during a location scout in the Mojave Desert, 3 months into production. I'd driven out to a remote canyon to scout a pivotal scene, the sun blistering the cracked earth. My SUV was my lifeline: water, GPS, satellite phone. But when I returned from a hike, the engine wouldn't start. The hood revealed cut wires, deliberate sabotage. My phone had no signal, and the nearest town was 40 miles away. I spent 12 hours rationing water, my lips cracking, my mind racing. Who had done this? A rival producer? Someone tied to Ethan's family? I was rescued by a passing ranger, but the incident left me shaken. I told no one, not even Lauren, afraid to disrupt the fragile bond we were building. That bond felt real in the early days. We'd stay up late in my studio, storyboards spread across the floor, laughing over bad coffee and shared memories. "You get me, Em," Lauren had said one night, her eyes bright with gratitude. "This film is going to change everything." I'd believed her, pouring more of myself into the project. I secured the Dolby Theater, a coup for a debut director. I negotiated with A-list stars, leveraging every industry favor I'd earned over a decade. I even funded a $10,000 0 cents custom gown for Lauren's red carpet moment, pressured by her insistence that the Vaughns expect prestige. But the second danger came during a venue inspection at the Dolby. I was checking the stage setup when a lighting rig, poorly secured, crashed down, missing me by inches. The impact sent shrapnel flying, a shard grazing my arm. Blood seeped through my sleeve as the crew scrambled to explain. "Faulty equipment," they muttered, but their eyes avoided mine. I bandaged the wound myself, my heart pounding with suspicion. Was this an accident? Or had someone wanted me out of the way? Lauren's betrayal deepened the wound. At a cast party in a Hollywood Hills mansion, I overheard her in the kitchen, her voice sharp with mockery. "Emily's such a workhorse," she said to her co-star, a smug actor named Julian. "Always harping on budgets, she ruins the vibe." The words cut deeper than the shrapnel. I'd sacrificed everything, my savings, my health, my peace. I confronted her later, my voice trembling. "How could you say that, Lauren? I've given you everything." She rolled her eyes, flipping her hair. "God, Em, don't be so dramatic. It was just talk. You're too sensitive for this industry." The pressure mounted as the premiere loomed. I faced a 48-hour deadline to secure celebrity appearances, names like Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, to ensure the film's buzz. Failure would tank my reputation, already strained by Lauren's public demotion of me from co-producer to consultant. She'd announced it at a press junket, claiming I was too controlling for the creative team. The humiliation burned, but I pushed through, calling in every favor, my voice hoarse from negotiations. I got the stars, but the cost was another piece of my dignity. Then came the venue crisis. The Dolby canceled our booking due to a fire code violation, a bureaucratic nightmare that threatened to derail the premiere. I spent days on the phone, my nerves frayed, securing the Orpheum Theater instead. A historic venue with its own prestige but a $75,000 0-cent price tag I hadn't budgeted. Lauren's response was infuriating. "The Orpheum? It's so old Hollywood," she said, her nose wrinkling. "Catherine thinks it lacks the Dolby's vibe." I bit back my anger. I'd performed a miracle and she was whining about aesthetics. The third danger struck during a late-night editing session. I was alone in my studio, the city silent outside, when the power cut out. The door wouldn't budge. Locked from the outside, panic clawed at me as I pounded on the steel, my phone's battery dead. Hours passed, my shouts echoing in the dark. Finally, a security guard heard me, claiming the lock had jammed. But the timing felt too precise, the sabotage too personal. I started sleeping with a baseball bat by my bed, my trust in the world eroding. Lauren's dismissal grew colder. At a family dinner in La Jolla, my parents fawned over her every word, her genius casting, her visionary script, while my $750,000 0-cent contribution was met with silence. When I mentioned the venue crisis, my father cut me off. "Let's not bore everyone with logistics, Emily. This is Lauren's moment." Catherine Vaughn, sipping her martini, added, "Money talk is so gauche, dear. Let's focus on the art." I excused myself, my hands shaking as I drove back to LA, tears blurring the freeway. The final straw was the cast's pre-premiere retreat in Napa Valley. I wasn't invited. I learned of it through Instagram, where Julian posted photos of custom Team Stardust jackets, each embroidered with a name. Except mine. I called Lauren, my voice steady despite the ache. "Why wasn't I invited? I'm your sister, your producer." She sighed, impatient. "It's a creative thing, Em. You'd just stress everyone out with your spreadsheets. Besides, Julian thinks you're kind of intense." The casual cruelty left me speechless. Intense? I'd nearly died for her film, multiple times. I was finalizing the Orpheum's seating chart, my eyes gritty from lack of sleep, when the email arrived. The one that broke me. I read it again, each word a fresh wound. Banned, unwanted, disposable. My family expected me to finish the job, secure the vendors, confirm the stars, polish the event, while barring me from the spotlight. The audacity was staggering. They'd taken my money, my talent, my soul, and now they wanted my silence. I don't remember calling Sophia, my best friend and a screenwriter who'd seen me through countless Hollywood battles, but she was there within the hour, her arms around me as I sobbed on the studio floor. "This isn't love, Em," she said, her voice fierce. "This is abuse." She read the email, her jaw tightening. "They're leeches, all of them." With her help, I pieced together the truth. This wasn't just about the premiere, it was a lifetime of being the responsible one, the giver, the invisible sister. Lauren's birthdays with private concerts, her acting lessons I'd funded by giving up NYU, her loans for designer bags I never saw repaid, my parents' endless praise for her mediocrity, their dismissal of my achievements. I'd built a career in Hollywood's Shark Tank, produced films that changed lives, and still, I was never enough. Sophia handed me a glass of water, her eyes searching mine. "What are you going to do?" I didn't know yet, but something was shifting inside me. The pain was still raw, but beneath it, a spark of defiance flickered. I'd given everything to a family that saw me as a tool, not a person. Maybe it was time to stop giving. Maybe it was time to choose myself. As I stared at the shattered coffee mug, its pieces glinting under the fluorescent lights, I felt the weight of a decision forming. The premiere was 3 weeks away. The Orpheum's contracts were signed, the stars confirmed, the red carpet ready to roll. But who had sabotaged my car in the desert? Why had that rig nearly killed me? And what was Catherine Vaughn hiding? Her insistence on my exclusion, too calculated to be mere snobbery. The answers were out there, and I wasn't going to find them by playing the good sister. I stood, my legs unsteady but my resolve hardening. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. The shards of my shattered coffee mug still littered the floor of my West Holloway studio, a jagged reminder of the email that had gutted me. I stood frozen, Sophia's words echoing in my ears. "This isn't love, Em. This is abuse." My sister Lauren, my parents, Victoria and Charles, and her fiancé Ethan's elite family had banned me from the premiere of Stardust Dreams. The film I'd poured $750,000 0 cents and my soul into producing. They expected me to finish the job remotely, as if my heart hadn't been ripped out. The audacity was a blade, but Sophia's fierce presence was the tether keeping me from falling apart. I wiped my tear-streaked face, my resolve hardening like steel in a forge. "I'm done," I whispered, the words foreign yet liberating. No more giving, no more sacrificing. Sophia nodded, her eyes blazing with support. "You're not alone, Em. Whatever you decide, I'm with you." But what was my next move? The premiere was 3 weeks away. The Orpheum Theater booked. The A-list stars confirmed. I'd built this event from nothing, and now I was nothing to them. The question wasn't just what I would do, it was who was behind the sabotage that had nearly killed me. The cut wires in the desert, the falling rig at the Dolby, the locked studio door. Someone wanted me out, and I needed answers. The first test came faster than I expected. My phone buzzed with a text from Lauren's publicist, a slick operator named Vanessa who oozed fake charm. "Emily, we need the final guest list by noon. Lauren's counting on you." The casual assumption that I'd keep working stung like salt in a wound. I stared at the message, my thumb hovering over the reply button. Part of me, the old Emily, conditioned to please, wanted to comply. But the new Emily, the one forged in betrayal, had other plans. I deleted the text and turned to Sophia. "I need to document everything. Every dollar, every email, every contract." We spent the next hour in a frenzy, my studio a war room of evidence. I pulled up bank statements showing the $500,000 0 cents production budget, the $150,000 0 cents marketing campaign, the $100,000 0 cents premiere costs, all from my personal savings. I saved emails where Lauren begged for my help, promising, "We'll be sisters again." I backed up the 75 production files I'd created, from casting notes to shooting schedules, each a testament to my unpaid labor. Sophia watched, her jaw tight. "This is insane, Em. You've been their ATM and their servant." The process was cathartic, but it unearthed a chilling detail. An email from Catherine Vaughn, Ethan's mother, to Lauren sent a month ago. "Emily's involvement is becoming a liability. Her budget obsession clashes with our vision. We need to manage her role carefully." The word manage sent a shiver down my spine. Was Catherine behind the sabotage? Her old money disdain had always felt personal, but this hinted at something darker. A calculated move to erase me from the picture. The second venue crisis hit that afternoon like a storm I hadn't seen coming. The Orpheum Theater called, their manager's voice tense. "Ms. Harper, we've got a problem. A rival studio, Silverlight Pictures. Booked the same date. It's a double booking error and they're offering $200,000 0 cents to secure it." My heart sank. The Orpheum was my miracle save after the Dolby's fire code fiasco, and now it was slipping away. "What's our current deal?" I asked, my voice steady despite the panic. $125,000, non-refundable. But Silverlight's got deeper pockets. You've got 24 hours to match or beat their bid. I hung up, my mind racing. Matching their bid meant another $75,000. 0 cents I didn't have, not after draining my savings for Lauren's film. Sophia paced, her screenwriter's brain already plotting. This isn't a coincidence, Em. Silverlight's CEO is tight with the Vaughns. They're trying to squeeze you out. The thought made my blood boil. Catherine's email, the sabotage, now this. Were they all connected? I called every contact I had, from studio execs to event planners, begging for a loan or a favor. No one bit. Hollywood's loyalty was as fleeting as a summer blockbuster. With hours to spare, I made a reckless decision. I wired $200,000, 0 cents from my emergency fund, outbidding Silverlight and securing the Orpheum. The transfer left my account nearly empty, my financial future hanging by a thread. I called Lauren to update her, hoping for a shred of gratitude. Her response was ice cold. "The Orpheum's fine, I guess," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "But it's no Dolby. Catherine says it lacks that iconic vibe." I gripped the phone, my knuckles white. "I just spent $75,000, 0 cents to save your premiere, Lauren. A little thanks would be nice." She laughed, sharp and dismissive. "God, Em, always about the money with you. This is my moment, not your balance sheet." Her words were a slap, but they fueled my defiance. That night, I faced another danger, one that turned my suspicion into fear. I was in my studio, editing promotional clips for the premiere, the city a dark canvas outside. The clock read 2 a.m. when the lights flickered and died. I fumbled for my phone, but the door, steel, industrial, wouldn't budge. The lock was jammed, or worse, sabotaged. Panic surged as I pounded on the metal, my shouts swallowed by the empty building. My mind flashed to the desert, the rig, the pattern of near misses. Someone wanted me trapped. Or worse. Hours passed, my throat raw, my hands bruised. I found a crowbar in a storage closet and pried the door open, stumbling into the hallway, gasping for air. The security guard, a new hire I didn't recognize, claimed it was a mechanical glitch, but his eyes darted away, and I noticed a faint scar on his hand, a detail I filed away. I drove home, my heart pounding, the baseball bat now a permanent fixture in my car. Who was doing this? Catherine? Silverlight? Or someone closer, like Ethan, whose silence in all this felt too deliberate? The premiere planning consumed my days, a high-wire act of logistics and pride. I organized a lavish after-party at a Malibu cliffside estate, costing $80,000, 0 cents, complete with ocean views, live music, and a custom cocktail named Stardust Glow. Every detail was perfect, a showcase of my skill, but also a desperate bid to prove my worth. Lauren's demands grew absurd. A $50,000 0 cents celebrity-endorsed ad campaign, a $10,000 0 cents gown, a private jet for her stylist. I paid, my savings dwindling, my hope fading that she'd ever see me as more than a means to an end. The second high-pressure moment came when the film's lead actor, a volatile star named Damian Cross, threatened to boycott the premiere. "Lauren's script is a mess," he texted me, his words slurred, likely from a late-night bender. "I'm not showing up to prop up her ego." The fallout would be catastrophic. Headlines, canceled sponsorships, my reputation in tatters. I spent 12 hours on the phone, soothing his ego, offering a private screening for his entourage, and promising a producer credit on my next project. He agreed, but the cost was another piece of my soul, bartered away for Lauren's dream. The cast party snub was a quieter cruelty. I learned of the Napa Valley retreat through Instagram. Julian's smug post showing off Team Stardust jackets. My name conspicuously absent. I called Lauren, my voice steady but my heart breaking. Why wasn't I invited? I'm your producer, your sister. She sighed, impatient. It's a vibe thing, Em. You'd bring everyone down with your stress. Julian and the cast need to bond, not deal with your intensity. The word intensity stung. A twisted echo of my dedication. I hung up, my hands trembling, the rejection a fresh wound. The final betrayal came via that leaked email, the one that shattered me. I was at my desk finalizing the Orpheum's seating chart when it arrived. Lauren's words, "Emily's a distraction for Ethan's guests," were a knife, but my parents' complicity cut deeper. "It's for the best, dear," my mother wrote, as if I were a child to be managed. My father's professionalism demand was a cold command, and Catherine's silence screamed her approval. They expected me to finish the premiere, to fade into the shadows my $750,000, 0 cents, and countless hours erased from their narrative. The panic attack hit like a tidal wave. I collapsed, my chest heaving, my vision blurring. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, the weight of a lifetime of betrayal crushing me. Sophia found me, her voice a lifeline. "Breathe, Em. You're stronger than this." She stayed through the night, her presence a shield against the darkness. As dawn broke, clarity emerged. This wasn't just about the premiere, it was a pattern. Lauren's entitlement, my parents' favoritism, my own willingness to give until I had nothing left. I'd been their doormat, and I was done. I called my lawyer friend, Rachel, a contract law expert with a no-nonsense edge. "You owe them nothing," she said, reviewing my documentation. "Your contributions were gifts, not obligations. They can't touch you legally." She urged me to compile everything, every payment, every email, every proof of my labor. I did, the process grounding me. The $750,000, 0 cents, the 75 files, the sleepless nights. It was a ledger of my love, weaponized against me. Rachel's advice was clear. Decide from strength, not pain. The third high-pressure moment came unexpectedly. Lauren's PR team, led by Vanessa, launched a smear campaign, leaking stories to tabloids that I'd mismanaged the film's funds. Headlines screamed, "Harper's financial fiasco threatens Stardust dreams." My phone buzzed with panicked calls from investors, my reputation teetering. I fought back, releasing a statement through a trusted journalist, detailing my $750,000, 0 cents investment. The truth slowed the damage, but the stress was a vice, tightening with every rumor. The fourth danger struck days later. I returned to my studio to find it vandalized. Computers smashed, hard drives missing, sensitive Stardust Dreams footage nearly stolen. The security footage was wiped, but a single frame caught a gloved hand, the same scar I'd seen on the guard. My blood ran cold. This wasn't random. It was tied to Lauren's allies, maybe Silverlight, maybe Catherine. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Mike, to dig into it. "This smells like industry sabotage," he said, his eyes narrowing. "Someone's protecting a secret, and you're the threat." The fallout from my family was swift and vicious. After I sent the email, "Fund your own spectacle, parasites," my phone exploded with voicemails. "Lauren's hysterics. You're ruining my life, Emily." My father's fury. "You're a disgrace to this family." Catherine's veiled threat. "We have lawyers, Miss Harper. Don't test us." I listened once, documented each message, then deleted them. Their power over me was fading, replaced by a fire I hadn't known I possessed. I executed my plan with surgical precision. I backed up all 75 production files, then deleted them from my systems. I canceled payment authorizations, notifying my bank to block any premiere charges. I blocked Lauren, my parents, Ethan, and the Vaughns on every platform: phone, email, social media. The digital severance was a guillotine, cutting decades of toxic ties. Sophia watched, her expression a mix of awe and pride. "You're a badass, Em. They didn't see this coming." The premiere, I later learned, was a shadow of my vision, scaled back to a modest theater. With generic catering and no celebrity guests, it flopped in the press. Lauren's moment fizzled, her dream reduced to a footnote. On the day it happened, I was far from Hollywood, in a Big Sur cabin I'd rented for a self-care escape. I filmed the rugged coastline, the waves crashing against cliffs, my camera a balm for my wounded soul. The act of creating, free from obligation, felt like reclaiming myself. Unexpected allies emerged. My Aunt Elizabeth, my mother's sister, called to say she'd boycotted the premiere, disgusted by Lauren's cruelty. My cousin James texted, offering a place to crash if I needed it. Their support was a lifeline, proof that not all family was poison. But the fourth high-pressure moment loomed. A pitch for my new documentary, Unseen, about women erased by ambition. Investors were skeptical. My savings depleted. Failure meant financial ruin. But I poured my heart into the pitch, my voice steady as I spoke of resilience. They bought it, a $2 million, 0 cents deal that felt like a phoenix rising. Therapy became my anchor. My therapist, Dr. Lena, helped me untangle my self-worth from my family's approval. "You're grieving the family you wanted, not the one you had," she said. I mourned, but I also grew, building a chosen family. Sophia, Mike, my crew, who valued me for me, not what I could give. A year later, I heard Lauren's film had tanked, and Ethan's parents turned on her, their criticism an echo of what I'd endured. Irony, it seemed, was a harsh teacher. My parents reached out, their voicemail tentative. "We've been thinking, Emily," my mother said. "Maybe we could talk." My father's gruff addition, "Families should work things out." I considered it, consulting Dr. Lena and Sophia. The old Emily would have run to them, desperate for love. The new Emily set terms. A neutral cafe, a 1-hour limit, and a demand for accountability. I didn't need their approval anymore, but I was open to truth. The fifth danger came out of nowhere. Driving home from a meeting, I noticed a black SUV tailing me, its windows tinted. It sped up, weaving dangerously, paparazzi cameras flashing from inside. I floored my gas pedal, my heart racing as I swerved through LA traffic, losing them in a maze of side streets. Mike later confirmed they were hired by Vanessa's PR firm, digging dirt to discredit me. "Lauren's desperate," he said, as losing control. The fifth high-pressure moment was a lawsuit from Lauren's team, claiming I'd breached contract by withdrawing. I testified in court, my voice unwavering as I presented my documentation. $750,000, 0 cents, 75 files, a lifetime of giving. The judge dismissed the case, but the public scrutiny was brutal. Tabloids called me Hollywood's heartless sister. Yet, as I left the courtroom, strangers approached. Women, mostly, sharing their own stories of family betrayal. "You gave me courage," one said, her eyes teary. I realized my story wasn't just mine anymore. The chapter closed with a moment of triumph. Unseen premiered at Sundance, a standing ovation echoing through the theater. I stood on stage, my chosen family in the audience, my heart full. The film didn't expose my family, that was my private battle, but it honored the unseen, the erased, the resilient. I'd lost a sister, a fortune, a piece of my past, but I'd gained something greater. Myself. And yet, questions lingered, seeds of intrigue that refused to die. Who had sabotaged my car in the desert? What secret was hidden in the stolen footage? Was Ethan a silent ally, His cryptic glance at that gala dinner a clue? Why had Catherine pushed so hard to exclude me? And would unseen spark a reckoning I wasn't ready for? The answers were out there, waiting. But for now, I stood tall, my future unwritten, my heart finally free.